Hello and welcome to another episode of the Forex Form Guide. Tonight we're looking at forecasting versus form reading, and we're going to do that over the Aussie dollar US dollar, pound US dollar, euro US dollar, and US dollar Japanese yen. Before we do that though, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Here's some videos that you might like to check out to get you started. And if you do find value in this video or any of my videos, I'd really appreciate it if you could just click on the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. A quick disclaimer, this video is for educational and informational purposes only and shouldn't be taken as financial investment or trading advice. Bottom line there, do your own research and trade responsibly. So we'll start by looking at the Australian dollar US dollar. WD Gann in the Wall Street Stock Selector placed his charts side by side. So he had yearly, monthly, weekly, daily. I'm going to do that with monthly, weekly, daily, and 4 hour. And this approach I actually call wheels within wheels. I know in Gann's work, especially the tunnel through the air, he talks about wheels within wheels and links it with Ezekiel's wheels within wheels. And a lot of people ask me, is that about astrology? Yes, it is. When I'm talking about wheels within wheels here, though, I'm talking about swing charts or different time frames. So you've got monthly up here, weekly here, daily down here, 4 hour down here. The 4 hour being the smallest, that's like your smallest wheel. And then when it turns, it's going to turn the daily chart over here. Then when the daily chart turns, it's going to turn the weekly chart. And then the weekly chart's going to turn the monthly chart. So that's what I think of as wheels within wheels. And I actually learned that from a company called Safety in the Market, a gentleman called David Bowden, which I'll mention again a little bit later. But right now on the Australian dollar, it looks like we're heading further to the downside. We've put in a little bit of a support here on the daily chart. But if you look at the big picture running down from our February 2021 top, we've hit that trend line again, and this time coming from a contracting monthly upswing. So the market's had a push up, had a pullback, had a weak run up, and it's turning down there. If we break that low there, this market is looking weak. We may triple bottom here. You've got these double bottoms in August here on the daily chart, and another strong low back there on the 23rd of June. But if we break through here, not a lot of support for the Australian dollar there. And again, with that weak upswing there, I'd be a little bit concerned there. I think it may end up doing what the pound looks like it's going to do, which is put in a higher bottom here. But it's certainly not looking strong, and it's certainly not easy for trading. And that's where the title of this week's episode comes from, forecasting versus form reading. A lot of people think that when you're a Gann trader, you just go winning trade, winning trade, winning trade, winning trade all the time. And I believe you can get to that stage or very close to it. If you look at Gann's records himself that he published, about 92% at his peak was his best set of results there. So even Gann had mistakes there. But Gann always spoke about form reading as well as forecasting. It wasn't enough just to forecast the market. You had to be able to form read the market. Now, what is form reading? Form reading is paying attention to the bar charts, the swing charts, the sections of the market, the price ranges of the market, how long the market is running in time, the signals the market is giving you, all these sorts of things. But what it all boils down to is, I'll take, for example, September, where I was expecting the market to have a good fall in September. It shot up for the first half of September, so I got that wrong. But what I'm doing during September when I'm looking for the market to have a steep fall is I'm looking for short trades. So I'm using my form reading to look for short trades. Now, when I'm using my form reading, I might come up with long opportunities to trade the market as it goes up and short opportunities for when the market goes down. I'll just focus on the short opportunities. That's what form reading is doing. It's looking for opportunities to make money. In trading, and especially in Gann trading, you learn that A, forecasting is possible, but B, you're not going to be right all the time. The aim of the game is to be right as often as possible, but you're not going to be right all the time. So you have to be able to manage your risk, and you have to be able to manage your emotions so that you don't just go in gung-ho and say, well, it's going to go down in September. If I had been gung-ho with this, and 20 years ago I probably would have been gung-ho with this, but if I had been gung-ho with my, it's going down in September, so I'm going to smash this and recklessly go in and just short the market, I would have done serious damage to my trading account. Now, at the moment, we've pulled up on this 87.5% ranges resistance card from our August low up to the top. If you've been following the channel, you'll know that I often point out that once 75% is breached, it nearly always goes back at least to that low and usually breaks it. So we could be on for triple bottoms. We could be going further to the downside. I'm pretty sure that we're going to go further to the downside. We have had a range down here and then an equal range almost to the point down to here. Gann does talk about sections of the market, counting the sections in time and price. That's all part of form reading. And there's another lesson in Gann's work called Time and Price Balance. That's due for one of my future recordings in the Gann's Gold series, which you'll find on this channel. But if we have a little bit of a pullback and then a third repeating leg down into a triple bottom there, yeah, maybe we get a nice triple bottom there and we get a rally, but it's not looking that strong to me at the moment. The next date that I'm watching is very early November on this market. So for me, I'll be checking the position of the market on all of the swing charts and on my ranges in time and price as well. And I'll be looking to see early November, are we in position position for a top or are we in position for a bottom? And I think we'll see a good 2 or 3 week run out of there. But as you can see, it's just been an awful year on the Australian dollar. Yes, I got the September call wrong. I did nail that April low. You can see that on the channel that I just showed you in the new to here videos. There was a double bottom trade on the Australian dollar. That was a nice reward to risk ratio. The February and January lows I called. The May top, little May top there, I was okay with. So it's not as if I've been sitting here scratching my head all year, but it has been a hard year. But during those times, I rely always on my form reading. For me, I'm happy to let this go and wait until November, so I will leave that there. Let's move on to the pound now. For the pound, this is another great opportunity to discuss forecasting versus form reading. I like this price level of around 127, which would be a 62.5% retracement here of this run up from January up to our high. And there's quite a few things going for it. So that's my forecast. Now, what do I do with my form reading? I look for opportunities to take short trades, making money as the market falls. That's where we sell first and then we buy back later. I'm not going to go into that on the channel, but here's your sell and your buy buttons. I don't trade through TradingView, but I do my analysis or a lot of my analysis through there. But if you want to make money as the market goes up, you click buy first and then you sell later. If you want to make money as the market falls, you click sell first and then you buy later. You can read up on how that works and what's going on there. But bottom line is, it's that simple. It all happens behind the scenes for us. We just choose which button we want to click first. Feel free to ask me a question in the comments if you're not sure about that. I certainly remember when I was starting out thinking, you can't make money selling first. How does that work? But then I realized I went into my trading platform, clicked sell, and there you go. I was short. Instead of owning 2,000 shares in whatever I was trading at the time, it said minus 2,000 shares. So I'm making money as the market falls. I owe 2,000 shares, then you buy them back to square your position out. But looking at the pound, I'm really strong on that 127.30 level. All you're doing is looking for opportunities to short. Now, technically, there's a short trade on the monthly chart with a lower top there. For those of you who are swing traders, you know if you enter as that swing chart turns down here and put your stop above the top there, and you're only targeting 127, it's only about a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio, which to me is just a waste of time. I always target 10-to-1 or more because I know I'm going to be wrong at times as a trader. And if I'm wrong 2 or 3 times in a row, well, what good is a 2-to-1 trade that's going to take me several weeks or even a couple of months to make? It's just pointless. Now, up here on the weekly chart, you can actually see running down there, this is all one weekly downswing. Interestingly, where we've pulled up here, this is a potential weekly swing bottom. It's actually roughly halfway from this top here down to our 62.5% retracement level. And you can do that calculation for yourself. It's not exact, but it's pretty close to halfway. And Gann says tops and bottoms become halfway points in the market. So we may be starting to see a bit of a rally here. In fact, you can see that weekly swing down there. That's all one weekly swing. We've closed fairly close to the high of the bar there. And on the daily chart, we're actually showing an expanding range up there. So we may be getting that swing up on the weekly chart. From there, that becomes a target, a weekly lower swing top, and that's an area that I'll be looking to zone in on. And if I can call that and get in there precisely, then I can trade the rundown to that 62.5% retracement from there. That's where form reading comes in. That 127 forecast, that was done weeks ago, okay? I don't need to keep doing that over and over again. All I do over and over again is my form reading work, looking to line up any trades that are going to point me in that direction and trying to take as much out of the trade as I can. So at the moment, the pound closed at 134.23. That's about 700 points away from the target. So if we see a top come in and it's a little bit more than 700 points away, if I can get in with a 10-point risk, that's a 70-to-1 reward to risk ratio trade right there. And I'll tell you what, trading is hard at times. Trading is frustrating, and you go through times like this where it's a choppy sideways move. You get 170-to-1 reward to risk ratio trade per year, and it's going to be a good year. And the beauty of a trade like this is because there's so much room to move there, it's not just a 70-to-1 reward to risk ratio trade. And look, it might not do that, but that's what I'm setting up for. But if you can get a 70-to-1, hey, even if it's a 20-point risk and it's only a 35-to-1 reward to risk ratio, it's not bad. But on the way down, you'll get a couple of swings or more, and you can compound on those as well. So at certain times of the year, there are great opportunities to make money. You just have to sit out of the sideways periods, not churn through your capital. And then when the opportunities present themselves, get in with a small risk, move your stop to entry plus commission as early as you can to take the risk out of it, and then accumulate more positions as the market moves in your favor. And of course, at some point, take your profits. Now, if you want to learn more about form reading, you can check out my Gann's Gold series. Part 3 was a slightly longer one on form reading. That went for 48 minutes, but you can check that out on the channel. And I take you through section 2 of how to make profits in commodities and some of the great techniques in there that Gann left for us. I learned a lot of my form reading from Safety in the Market, so you can check them out at safetyinthemarket.com.au and their active trader program there. Gann was the original source. It can be a little bit hard to get into at times. When I was starting out, I found safety in the market a lot easier. Let's move on to the euro US dollar now. Much like the pound, it's in a similar position. It's all been one weekly downswing here. And again, this takes time to unfold. Let's say that you nail that top on the euro, and I did. I called 119 as a price target on the euro way before it happened. Isn't it interesting that my better calls this year have been on non-Australian dollar markets? We spoke about this last week, that the Australian dollar, I don't think, is my best friend. Gann spoke about stocks that are your enemies and stocks that basically are your best friend. For me, the Aussie dollar falls somewhere in the middle there. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd have it about 6.5 to 7 out of 10. I will talk more about that in future at some point, but it's interesting, as I said, that I've had much better calls on a couple of other markets. But looking at the euro, that looks like it needs a pullback on the weekly chart as well, and that has begun on the daily chart with a strong run up there. So at some point, we'll probably see a pullback and then another run up to give us a lower weekly swing top. If you can call that lower swing top, you've got opportunities to enter a small risk trade. And then once that top is in, that should give us a bit of an idea as to where we might be heading for our next price target on the euro. I don't think, to me, the pound and the euro look like they've got more upside in them. It's just a case of putting in that higher bottom there. In the meantime, though, I'll be looking for short opportunities. There's another video on the channel about how to spot market turns, and you can spot them at various stages. But having a look here on the euro, see as we've come down 1, 2, 3 weeks down, and that's really a fourth week down there, and see we've broken this weekly swing bottom over here. Okay, so if we run up into a lower top there, the trend on the weekly chart would now be down. And then we would look for 2 or 3 sections on the weekly chart running down to give us our monthly swing down there. So it's always form reading and wheels within wheels. Those two videos, I mean, people often want to go into the time stuff of Gann, but without a solid form reading background, and for me, wheels within wheels comes before form reading. That's why I did that as video 2. But without that solid background, it can often be very hard in trading. The last one to take a look at is the US dollar, Japanese yen. And this is just a little bit of follow on. We've been looking at the exact same setup for most of the year, really. I think at some point that these triple bottoms on the monthly chart are going to be broken and that we will head down. I've targeted that 154 area up here on the US dollar yen that I think that the market will top out at and then come back down from there. Once we break that monthly swing low there, I'd say it's down to the triple bottoms. Gann says that the 4th time a market approaches a level, so triple bottoms, 1, 2, 3. It's very rare that you get quadruple bottoms. So the 4th time, he says the market almost always goes through. So you'd see the market push down through there. I had a target of possibly 116 or further. At the moment, we're looking at these sections of the market. We had 876 up. This is coming from this triple bottom here. 876 up, 880 up, and 880 again would put us around that 154 level. We had a great run up here a couple of weeks ago. We've just pulled back, retraced a little bit from there, and found support around that halfway point, that 50% there on that old top, and closed right near the high of the bar there. So this could be an interesting one to watch for a run up to 154. Now that's about 400 points, plenty of potential profit in there if the market gives you an appropriate setup. We'll leave it there. If you did find value in the video, I would really appreciate a like and a comment. It does help me to grow the channel and spread Gann's teachings to more people. And there is more to come in that Gann's Gold series. It's just a matter of me having enough time to get in there and record them. But if you want to stay up to date and be notified when they are released, just subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on. Of course, if you're already subscribed to the channel, you don't need to subscribe again. That's all for this week. Thank you for joining us for the Forex Form Guide. I'll be back next Sunday night, 7 p.m. Sydney time with another episode. So until then, have a fantastic week. All the best with your trading and bye for now.